our sisters, that our enemy doesn't want our sisters and our brothers and our family to know that what menopause is, so that they can know what they need to do, Father. And so as we continue, we thank you, Father, for working out every single thing in Jesus' name. Amen. And so, Dr. Brown, so we were looking at the question that we were at was that the hypothalamus was not getting the correct information, so it was sending a signal to the body, say outside is cold, but in essence it was hot. Expand a little more on that, Dr. Brown.
Okay, so we talk about the
May I
body
interject for 1
overeating.
second, Elder
We
Carine?
talk about the thermoneutral zone, and this is recapping what we went over just before the disruption. So the thermoneutral zone is that zone within the range where the body feel comfortable. So within that range, there is no signal that is activated for cooling or heating response. So what is happening here in this thermoneutral zone? It's like for women who are not going through menopause. Their thermoneutral zone is between 0.4 degrees. So that's the range from hot to cold in women who are not going through menopause. So in women with frequent hot flashes, it is narrowed down to almost zero. So that means that there is no tolerance for no range of any temperature. And I had explained that if we drank some tea that is warm, or even warm water, or drink some soup, or eat food that is hot, it can result in an alarm in the system because the zone is zero, no tolerance. So not even the tiniest range in temperature change in our body can trigger the brain to react as if there is an emergency. Call the ambulance. Look, I am on fire. I am burning up, and the body needs to cool down. And that in its essence is what's happening to women. And think about one person experiencing 20 waves of hot flushes in one day. And when you're sleeping, you're not even doing anything in rest, and you wake up flush, you wake up wet, your clothes is wet, and that can create disturbance in sleep. So this is what women literally go through when they're experiencing hot flushes. Yeah.
Thank you. It seems scary. I mean, all this is going on, and I'm sure that your body, with the hot flash and all these processes, is using up energy.
Oh yeah.
It's using up energy, and it is using up resources, because that water has to come from somewhere, right? And
Mhm.
so a lot of things are going on. Just looking at my tech team. So okay, all right. Do you still want to say something, Marie, our tech? Or we are good?
I'm readmitting the two individuals. You can ask them to rename their device. Other than that, if they don't, I will remove them.
All right. So individuals who, well, you hear what she says. We will remove you if you raise your hand if you want us to rename you. Make sure your phone, I see your iPhone 124, that we will rename your device. All right. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Brown. No, so the body isn't truly overheating. That's what you're saying?
No, it's just a false alarm, and we're having consistent false alarm. So the core temperature is usually still in the normal range. The issue is that the brain misread a safe temperature and change and discharge, and it sends out all these different signal, and it's stating that the body is in danger and launch a serious cooling response regardless of what the temperature. So whatever the brain interpret, that's what the body is, the signal that's going to be sent. And then it's just an outrageous response, and that response create that effect within our body.
Okay. Okay. So, from the chat, I want you to put things on the chat. I want you to use up these things that we call fingers, and I'm going to ask true or false question. True or false question. Just to recap to see if you were listening to us. The first question: the hypothalamus regulates body temperature. True or false? Put a T for true and a false, a F for false in the chat. Right? We see a T, precious, innocent, a T, which is, and okay, we see we're going down T. So we have 3 T's. So yes, that is true. The hypothalamus regulates body temperature. Number 2 question. Sister Daisy, I see your answer. Number 2. During menopause, the thermoneutral zone widens and becomes more stable. Let me repeat the question. During menopause, the thermoneutral zone widens and becomes more stable. True or false? And I see we see a false there, a false, we see a false. That is true. Another question: the atomic nervous system controls only the involuntary actions such as walking and speaking. True or false? Put it in the chat. I see Y for yes. F, true or false? Sister Claudette, I see your answer there, and I see answer. So the answer is false. It does not only control walking and speaking. And 2 more questions. A hot flash occurs because the brain misinterprets normal body temperature as too high. True or false? The question is, a hot flash occurs because the brain misinterprets normal body temperature as too high. True, true, true is correct. And the last question: the body's core temperature is usually dangerously high during a hot flash. True or false? The body's core temperature is usually dangerously high during a hot flash. True or false? If you say false, you are correct. And so we have individuals who were listening. Thank you for sharing. Get your fingers. There are more questions. So back at you, Dr. Brown. Now, let's talk about estrogen, right? We know it's important both for men and women. Why is it so important in this process of hot flash triggering? Why is it important?
Okay, very good question. Now, estrogen does much more than regulate reproduction, because that's what we know it as, or as a proliferator. It also stabilizes the brain temperature and control system. So when estrogen fall, certain neurons in the hypothalamus become dysregulated, and this create the havoc within our body.
Okay, simple. All right. So let's follow up with another question. Which neurons are those?
Okay, so this is where it's going to get technical. So we need to listen carefully. So all of what we're talking about is happening inside of the brain right now. So we are talking about the area or that region in the brain where the hypothalamus is. So inside of the brain, or in the inside or extending of the hypothalamus, we have what we call the KNDy neurons. Now, these neurons, they produce 3 signaling molecules, We have the kisspeptin, the neurokinin B, and the dynorphin. These are the three neurons that signals and creates this havoc within our body because of the way they fire up and down, up and down. Now, these are the three neurons that we are talking about. They are called in the KNDy neuron. There are three additional signaling molecules which are responsible for this thing that we call hot flashes.
Okay, so what do those do? What those neuron does?
Okay, so the kisspeptin, it's called kisspeptin. This is what it's called, kisspeptin. It helps to regulate the reproductive hormone axis by stimulating what we call the gonadotrophin releasing hormone. So this hormone is a master regulator hormone produced in the hypothalamus of the brain. Now, its job is to control the reproductive hormone system. Now, gonadotrophin releasing hormone is part of a powerful communication called the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. That's what it's called. And this is all happening inside of the brain. Now, this is what happened. So what happened? The hypothalamus releases gonadotrophin releasing hormone. Now, this hormone communicates, it's like a switchboard with the pituitary gland, which respond by releasing what we call follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. So this is the way it works normally when we are functioning normally, not during menopause. So follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone communicates with our ovaries. And within our ovaries, when this goes well, we have estrogen and progesterone that is produced. So follicle stimulating and luteinizing hormone is responsible for preparing the womb for a fertilized egg. So the lining of the uterus becomes very thick and a fertilized egg can be implanted. Now, on the other hand, during menopause, ovaries become less responsive. So all the hormones are produced in the same breath. The follicle stimulating hormone, the luteinizing hormone, gonadotrophin releasing hormone, which communicates with this, is produced. It's just keep producing. Now, the ovaries decide, okay, at this point, we are not going to respond in the same way we used to respond because maybe we don't have any more eggs to be stimulated to produce this estrogen and this progesterone. So we have fewer follicle remain. And this is what happened. Estrogen production decline. So the brain respond by increasing follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. So they continue to increase. However, the ovaries don't respond effectively anymore. And therefore, we end up with what we call hot flushes because one part of the body is working, as we talk about, the DN and the KNY neuron, and all of these different parts, the gonadotrophin, the hypothalamus is constantly working. And as a result of the body not producing or the ovaries not producing. So it is because we have low estrogen, hypothalamus become unstable, KNDy neuron become overreactive, and thermal zone narrow, and results in this hot flushes, which we continue to get, and we can continue to experience this, as we said, for over 14 years within our lives, because it can start at premenopause, continue through menopause, and then perimenopause, and then postmenopause. And it continues. And as I said, I have a client who is 70-year-old and they are still experiencing this hot flushes.
Dr. Brown, that's a mouthful. I mean, that's too mouthful. Too mouthful. Thank you for sharing that information. And I know our audience is aware of and will remember everything that you just said. And so it makes it more simple. Now, question to you, Dr. Brown. That burst is what sets off the hot flash?
Exactly. Yes. The neurokinin B binds to what we call the NK3 receptors. And this NK3 receptor, and remember, all of this is happening inside of the hypothalamus of the brain. So all of this is occurring there. So the NK3 receptor, neurokinin 3 receptors, is a protein found in the brain that responds to a chemical messenger called neurokinin B. And this plays a role in regulating body temperature and reproductive hormone. Neurokinin B is released. So that's what happened. It binds to NK3 receptors. And this activates brain pathway that stimulates the gonadotrophin release hormone. Okay, and this influences the body temperature regulation. Now, when we go through hot flushes, and that's what happens normally. When we go through hot flushes, because estrogen level drop, because we have a lower level of estrogen, the neurokinin B activity increases and NK3 receptor become more overactive. And this overstimulation disrupts the hypothalamus through it triggers the autonomic nervous system and causes us to experience constant hot flushes, because and during this time, as we know, we have active vasodilation and sweating. That is why hot flushes comes in waves rather than staying constant.
So, from what I've been hearing, and is that, ladies, you make sure that you're drinking enough water when you're going through this process, because sweating, if that sweat is water in essence, and that water needs to come from somewhere. So make sure that you're drinking enough water. So another question, Dr. Brown. Let me reposition in my seat. Many women in repeat. Oh man, that is a lot of words there, sister. Perimenopause. Yes. Notice irregular cycle along with hot flashes. Is that are they connected?
Absolutely. So they are definitely connected because if we're to think about it, hormonal imbalance is hormonal imbalance. And even though these are we are focusing on hot flashes, which is a hormonal imbalance. A woman could be going through hormonal imbalance even not at the point of menopause. Okay, the perimenopausal stage is really when estrogen feedback declines. It did not, it declines greatly, and the kisspeptin signaling become less stable. So because it becomes less stable, it disrupts, and we go back to the gonadotrophin releasing hormone pulse, meaning it's not coming constantly from the hypothalamus, which affects the follicle stimulating hormone that we just explained and luteinizing hormone, which releases from the pituitary gland, and the release of this result in irregular ovulation, irregular menstrual cycle, and hormonal volatility. meaning that you can have some people are experiencing in perimenopause, experiencing their cycle for 30 days, and it's just coming, and it's coming like you're a bank that produces this flow. It's like a river running for sometimes 15, 20, 30 days for some people. And this is because of the disruption. And some of these issues that we experience is not necessary as a result of just it. Environmental factors also implicate what we are experiencing in perimenopause as well. So as we said, there are variables that implicate this that can make it worse or even regulate it too, so that it's not as bad. And this is not compulsory. Not every woman go through this, depending on your lifestyle and sometimes your genetics. So we have to regulate and try to close in on the variables that implicate our health to this extent, and try to govern them and manage them so that you don't go off on this tangent when it comes to menopause, perimenopausal phase. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. As I look in the chat, I see Donna L. I don't know if you're going to answer this, but in your follow-up questions, answers, it says, what can we do to block these guys from rushing to that ovary? Is there anything that the ladies can do to well, I guess you have to balance back the imbalance.
So there are many variables that implicate our health and our well-being and our hormone to a great extent. And these variables sometimes exist in our environment. We could be drinking water and be taking in hormonal blockers. We are taking in hormonal disruptors. So and it's very important to drink clean water. And I speak about this on this program already, where we talk about drinking water from bottles that are plastic, which is a serious hormonal disruptor. And there are many other things. The diet that we are consuming, we consistently go over the 8 laws of health, which include nutrition. And that is something that we need to pay close attention to, because when we take in a lot of animal products as part of our diet, they do come with hormones, and these hormones act as disruptors. They displace our hormone and create consistent problems. Not saying that there are people who are not on a plant-based diet consistently, but then if you're on a plant-based diet, then we have to look at the other variables that are affecting us. The soap that we're using to wash our clothes, because these are things that affects our hormone. They are disruptors. The air fresheners that we put in our room. It's just so many different things that we're exposed to. Some people use Vaseline, and this is petroleum, so we are using it and it's disrupting our hormones. So we have to key in on what are the disruptors and what are some of the things that I can do to avoid this, so that when I get to this stage of my life, I am not having to deal with this. And then we have the other variables, which we will talk about when we are getting there to that point where we talk about some of the natural remedies, which we might have mentioned earlier on some other presentation, but we will go over them.
All right, so Nicole, we're gonna pin your question in the next break. So if a woman's FSH is elevated, that often reflects the brain trying harder to stimulate the ovaries. Can you expand on that?
Okay, so if a woman FSH is elevated, it can implicate our reproductive cycle. So the ovaries are becoming less responsive. So the brain and the pituitary increase the signaling. That is why FSH often rise during perimenopause. So it's like you send in a message and the ovaries is not responding. and the message keep coming. It's the same principle that applies when your insulin sensitivity, when you become insulin resistant. Your body is producing insulin. The pancreas is not broken. Now you're producing insulin, but the insulin is not getting where it's supposed to go. So insulin and sugar stay high in the system, and that damages your blood vessel. It damages your arteries. It damages so many things. And then at the end of the day, you die from a heart attack instead of diabetes. Wherein if we had cleaned the cell membrane and do a full detox to clean the system, and the insulin gets into the blood, it's the same thing happening here. The ovaries are becoming less responsive, which means the ovaries probably don't have any eggs to produce. So the brain and the pituitary increase the signal. So it's like sending shocks to the ovaries, and the ovaries can't respond. And we have FSH, which is increasing the lining of the uterine. And this is what causes women to have these extensive menstrual cycle close to menopause.
So it's a full body, it's not just taking a pill. It's a full lifestyle changes. And I know as individuals, we tend to want a pill. We have to take time for our health. Remember that we have to take time for health, because you are special, right? You are very special. So this fast thing that we tend to, okay, give me this lotion or give me this pill. No. And so this is where we are coming together to help you, to coach you into that position where you spend time with yourself, and so you take care of yourself. So my question is, another question is, what actually happens during a hot flash in real time?
Okay, so this tends to unfold in three phases. And the first phase is the trigger phase. That is when the neurokinin B that I mentioned earlier, neurokinin B, activates the hypothalamic pathway. And remember, we are talking about the brain, what is happening in the brain. Then comes a premonition phase. I know some of you ladies can identify with this premonition phase, when you feel your body changing and you don't know what is it, but it's coming on. This is where the woman feel anxious. It's like, what on earth is this is happening in my body? And then you might have your heart racing, or you feel your chest, there is pressure in your chest. And after that comes vasodilation. And this is all preparation for what's coming. So these are some of the things that will happen in the first phase. You have the vasodilation, and where the blood vessel in the face, the neck, and the chest, it widens rapidly. And that produces the flushing and intense warmth that we experience. And this can be rather embarrassing. And then we get sweating, and the sweat come out of nowhere. In the middle of winter, this sweat come out of nowhere. Then the sweating begins, and then the body tries to cool itself down, because that's why we sweat. So when we actually sweat, it is an effort, as I explained earlier, for the body to cool itself down. And during the peak phase, that is, the symptoms are strongest. And after that, we have what we call the recovery, when the sweat evaporates and our temperature fall. That temperature go down, and the woman often feel cold, or we feel shivering, or just something like that. And then you have to pull for a sweater to actually cover up so that your body can warm up again. And then you might go through the same cycle, because after the body warm up, then you have the same thing happening. So this is in essence the stages that we go through in the menopausal, in the hot flushes, during hot flushes. Yes.
And so, because my wife and myself is one, when she goes through it, I go through it, right? And I'm seeing my wife sweat, and my wife is sweating. and you see beads of sweat on her forehead, and I'm looking at her, and I literally see the sweat on her forehead, and I'm just looking, and I can only help. Oh, I can help her getting through this process and do what I can do as a male, understand the symptoms, and help her through. As men, if there is any men on the line, just remember you are there to help your wife, it could be your mother, your sister, your cousin, your niece, through this process. And so you should be taking notes, men. Now, my next question, Dr. Brown. So the chill afterward is because the body has overcooled itself. It's like the feedback loop is like in the insulin, the glucose, the insulin and the glucose goes too low and the insulin goes too high, and it kind of is like a seesaw, right? Process.
Exactly. It's like, right, from one extreme to another. So the body overshoots, in essence, its cooling response. So it's like a lot, the trigger is like, when you have 10 fire truck that come outside when it's just the house smoking, just a little smoke from cooking. So you're cooking and the smoke go off, and then you have like one truck from there, one over there, and then you have like 10 of them come just to get rid of that little smoke when you just need to open the windows. Yes, so that is why, so many women sweat heavily and then suddenly need to actually cool with warm themselves up with a blanket or a sweater or something like that. Yes. Sometimes women have to wake up in the night and change their clothes, the sheet, everything, because of this constant trigger of hot flushes. Yes.
Thank you for that, Dr. Brown. Now, moving on to my next question. Many women say certain things make their hot flashes worse. Is that true?
Oh, definitely. There are triggers, as we know, and we mentioned earlier. If a woman is stressed, is if she's going through serious stress, it's gonna create a it's going to create a crescendo of disruption in the hormone. So it's either way, if you're going through menopause, you're perimenopause, you're post, whatever, premenopause, this stress factor can cause disruption of the hypothalamus and how it triggers, and that creates problem all around. Caffeine is another thing that is another disruptor or trigger. You have spicy food. Some people just eating spicy food, it caused them to, and as a result of that, you will find a lot of people will stay away from things like cayenne pepper because it's gonna heat their body up too much. We have warm environment, just the environment being overheated or just too warm, especially in the summer or even the winter when the house is too hot. We have alcohol and we have emotional tensions. And I'm pretty sure there are many other variables that can implicate or make menopause or hot flashes worse for women. So these are just an example of some of them that could definitely be triggers for most people.
All right. Can you expand a little more on what can make it worse for individual ladies who need to know and may be able to stay away from these triggers?
Okay, so how now, why do these things make menopause or are triggers for menopause? And if we're to look at it, and we go back to the thermoneutral zone that we talked about earlier, where for
Yes.
menopausal woman, that thermoneutral zone is 0. You don't have no tolerance for extreme heats. So the thermoneutral zone is already so narrow, and for most people who have consistent hot flushes, it's 0. So caffeine rises what we call the androgenic tone, and stress activates the sympathetic nervous system. So we have the parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system. Now, so spicy foods stimulate heat receptors, such as what we call we call it the TRPV1. So the TRPV1, when that is activated, so when this is activated, it sends heat signals to the brain. It triggers vasodilation, that is, the blood vessel is widening. It activates sweating, and it creates sensation of burning or heat. And that is why when we go through hot flashes, there's a lot of things that can happen, and the skin can be implicated. A lot of people get some people get psoriasis, some people get eczema, and they get it at this point in their life. So TRPV1, what it does is between in the time when we're going through menopause, because our estrogen level drops, TRPV1 receptor become more sensitive. It become more sensitive, and the hypothalamus become overreactive. And that result in normal body temperature triggers, and that trigger send that overheating signal to the brain, and the body thinks it's overheating, and therefore we respond with sweating, flushing, and sudden heat surge. And this is can be, if we don't understand that this is what is happening, then we can go into this traumatic depression where we just fall under it, and just, oh God, this is happening to me, I'm dying. Some people think they're dying, and this is the as a result of the effect of this hot flush, which occur step by step in our body. But understanding it can make a big difference.
All right, so thank you for that information. As we see, the chat is blowing up. I see Sister Carline says, what if you are in premenopause or early menopause because of surgery?
Oh, yes. So there are some people who remove the ovaries. And Lord have mercy, it is hard. I can tell you it is difficult. There are some people who remove, they do surgery, and some things are missing. And if you're going through that as a result of that, the only thing that what you could do is start taking the stuff that will calm, that will cool the hypothalamus down. There are some that we will talk about, like your red clover. We have some of the, you can even use the rosemary, and there are a few other herbs that we are going to talk about as we get to the end of this presentation, so that you can actually apply those to yourself. And then I don't know exactly what surgery you do, but depending on what it is, it could implicate your how you respond, and the hot flushes could come on. So we will have to, I just need to get some more detail from you as well. Yes.
All right, thank you for doing for that answer. One of the biggest complaints women have is night sweats. What is happening there?
So night sweats are essentially hot flushes. They are the same thing, but I don't know why they use two different names, like it's something different. It's the same thing. I guess some people think night sweat is a nicer way to say it than to say it's hot flashes, but it's just what is happening during sleep. They cause microarousal. So when we get these hot sweat, it causes microarousal. As I mentioned something about it earlier, you are fully awakened. And as I said before, they disrupt both slow moving sleep and the REM sleep. So that means a woman may technically be in bed for hours, but still wake up exhausted because of the consistent hot flushes that they are experiencing. Yeah, so it really, really disrupts sleep, and it affects your energy level. It can affect your It can worsen your mood, your memory, concentration. It can affect your blood sugar. It can affect your energy balance. It can cause inflammation and pain, sensitivity, and it could be a whole body issue. And that is why so many women, while they're going through this, they're so intolerant. They are just so sharp and they cut like a knife because all of these things are just happening in their body. Your mood worsening, your memory, your concentration, everything is just going haywire, and you have to live and adjust your body, just adapt to this so that you can control yourself and work within the peripheries of what's happening inside of your body.
All
Yes.
right. So we are a little bit over the information that we need to get out. We were supposed to finish at 12 o'clock. We are 29 minutes over that 12 o'clock. I'm going to ask our Zoom family that we go up to 1 or before 1 because of what took place before. We are going to ask you for, we want to finish this. I know it's vital information, and your dinner is already cooked, you already eaten lunch, you perhaps you're in bed, and so this is information that you will never receive again. So I want you to take this moment to, we are 59 of us. I want you to take this opportunity to share it with that person that is going through. This sounds worse than hell. I mean, it affects the entire body, and your doctor don't know, your sisters don't know, because they went through it. Their parents didn't tell them. Nobody knows anything. And so you're here today to get the information from us. So take the moment to share it with that sister who you know is going through the same thing, and you can't answer because you don't know nothing. And so share the link. And so I'm asking the time. We're going to go up to 1 o'clock, and we were trying to finish before 1. All right, Dr. Brown, let's put the seatbelt on, and let's get it done. All right, so many women think hot flashes are just uncomfortable. But your material makes it clear they have wider consequences. What are some of those consequences?
Okay, so chronic hot flushes can affect multiple systems, as was mentioned earlier. We talk about some of them in the early part. So we have repeated episode. Just think about it. A repeated episode of vasodilation. So your blood vessels are opening, vasoconstriction. It places stress on the cardiovascular system. So this is not something that you think about and cause it to happen. This is something just happen out of the blue from nowhere. You're just there and you're sitting and you're having a normal conversation, and your body is just profusely wet. So it is chaotic. It's when we think about it, we have chronic sympathetic activation which may contribute to the vascular aging, which means that your blood vessels are either expanding and contracting so much, like a rubber band. When you stretch the rubber band and it keeps stretching it, it starts chafing up, and it doesn't have any tenacity in it anymore. And this is kind of exactly what happened to our blood vessels while we're going through this process. Now, estrogen deficiency also accelerates bone loss. So we are looking at our bones aching, cracking, like we're eating chips. So the bone, you can hear it curp, curp, curp when you're walking, and these are the things that are happening to our bones, especially in the first year after menopause. So the first year after menopause, this is the time that we have to take extra caution. We have to consume the foods that will support our body. And it's not about consuming a lot of calcium. It's about trying to balance what is happening within the body. We have sleep disruption contribution, which cause brain fog. We wake up and we are in a fog. We just trying to go, but it's like nothing is clear. Reduce verbal memory. We're not remembering anything. We're trying to say something. It's somewhere in file 13 of our brain, and it's just there and it can't come out. So we are trying to say something, and oh, that thing there, and we know what we want to say, but we're really not saying it. So we have that mental clarity and brain fog and memory loss. We have metabolic. We have the metabolism, which is really, really slow down. So many women also, we experience what we call weight loss. Weight gain, not loss, weight gain. So we put on a lot of weight, especially around the abdomen. And you'll go to the doctor, and the doctor will say, oh, it's normal, it's during menopause. Trust me, there are things that you could do to reduce this extension of your gut while you go through this. And this is due to the really, because of your insulin sensitivity, and it is really a metabolism or a metabolic disorder that is occurring as a result of all the changes that are happening within your body. So, right. So all of these things are happening at the same time. So we have brain loss, we have brain fog, we have weight loss, and we have the metabolic syndrome, which implicate our health as we move forward or try to get through this. So these are some of the implication of hot flushes or this menopausal issues that we face. So these are some long-term effects of chronic hot flushes in our body.
Thank you for that mouthful. So women, and including my wife, are not imagining it when they say my whole body feels different.
Oh, yes, they are not at all imagining this. This is for real. And no one could explain this to you at all. I could experience one thing in menopause and somebody else experience something totally different. These are some total of some of the things that we have as testimony, but it is a whole body transition. You feel like you have a new body while you're going through this process.
Wow. Because I know my wife, she's going through, her body is going through changes. And I can say that from this information, she's not telling a lie, right? So let's step it up. We're turning the corner and we are looking at the finish line. Question to you: many women want natural support. Let's talk about phytoestrogen. What are they?
Okay, so phytoestrogen are plant compounds that can bind to estrogen receptors, especially ER beta. It's called ER beta. And ER beta is an ER beta activity in the hypothalamus. And remember, all of this is taking place in the hypothalamus, where it helps to calm overactivity in the KNDy neuron and reduces hot flushes intensity. So that is kind of what it is. So the ER beta is estrogen receptor beta. That's what it is. It's one of the main receptor in the body to which estrogen binds. So when we take foods that are high in estrogen, and we're talking about phytoestrogen, it binds to this estrogen receptor beta and calms the hypothalamus, the activities in the hypothalamus, and this is the overactivity of the KNDy KNDy neurons. So it calms it down, so it reduces hot flushes intensity. Yes.
So thank you. I see your question, favorite child. I see we are going to cover that answer, that question. And so they are not exactly the same as hormone replacement therapy, right?
Well, they are not, they are correct. It's not a hormone replacement therapy. They are not identical to pharmaceutical estrogen. They tend to act more gentle and selectively, so they are not as aggressive.
Aggressive.
Yes, so we're talking about gentle and selectively, and they ask question if your receptor already have a hormone in it, it doesn't blast it out and take the place. It just knock on the door gently. If it's needed, it takes the place. And that is one reason why many women interested in natural approach feel more comfortable exploring them or the natural phytoestrogen, which will definitely support their body in a more natural way.
So thank you for sharing. I see Sylvia question, and I think Sylvia came in late, and she was asking if does the hot flash ever stop? I am 7 years into menopause with no relief, and so it stopped eventually. We hope, right, Dr. Brown?
Well, we could only hope, because the research has shown that it could go up to 14 years, over 14 years. So,
Okay.
and as I said, I had a client, she's a 70 and above, and she was calling asking what can she do for hot flushes, because she's 70 and she expect that this would stop. So there's no guarantee. So we have to check the lifestyle and figure out how we're gonna calm the neurons down, so that the triggers from the hypothalamus is reduced. And that's what we have to work on, so that we can reduce the effect of hot flushes.
And so that's a full body adjustment, or working with the body, all system of the body to normalize that action. Now, what are some common sources of this phytoestrogen?
Okay, and these are things like simple things that we can find, like red clover. Red clover is on top of the list. If you can harvest red clover, if you live in an area where it grow, you can plant it. It is something that grows wild in the Northeast, and you could just harvest the red clover, the flower from it, and just use that to make a tea. This is a mild herb. You could drink red clover all day, and for a long time without it having any negative impact on your body. So red clover is one example, which is very powerful. As I said, we have flaxseed, and this is something simple. We can buy flaxseed in any store, any grocery store, and we grind our flaxseed. We are not going to take them in or soak them. We have to grind them to get the benefit. And then whole soy food. Soy food is very rich in phytoestrogen, which support and helps the body to deal with the symptoms, or to calm the hypothalamus and the neurons, so that we don't experience the harsh impact of these hot flushes. We have chickpeas is also a very good source of phytoestrogen. Mung bean, black coash, and then we have wild yam. And then we have other traditional herbs, but on top of the list, these are some of them. And the goal for this is to support. Now, when we take these herbs, it's not going to be 100% as you expected if your lifestyle is not in line with the principles that were given. We have a principle: we must stick to a plant-based diet. Because you could be eating all the flaxseed in the world, and if you're eating flaxseed or drinking red clover tea, then, and you're not experiencing it, if your life is consistently the same, your diet, you're not on a plant-based diet, you are not going to bed and you're not sleeping, and all the principles, the laws of health, the pillars of health, these pillars of health are very, very important in order for the natural products that God give us to work. Because if we're not following those principles, the herbs that God give us, the food that he gives us is not going to work. So we definitely have to actually follow those principles in order to receive the result that we're expecting. And sometimes it becomes necessary for some of us to actually do a detox program. So that is sometimes absolutely necessary, because sometimes we have so many things backed up in us. We have the microplastic, we have the heavy metal, we have all these different things back up in our system, and these systems are blocking, they are blocking the effect of the natural food. So we need to clean our system, and then we apply this, and you might receive the benefits at a better rate. Yes.
Amen. So in a sense, we have to start new. That means sunlight, right? We have temperance, we have here, we have rest, we have trust, we have nutrition, we have exercise, water. For integrating these habits of the laws, the doctors, we call them, into our lives. If we're not going to bed early, we try to go to bed early. If we're not drinking enough water, getting the water in, we hiding from the stress, because stress plays an important role. So you make sure that you hide. That means you might need to laugh more. When last you do a laugh where you're underground laugh? When last have you enjoyed a laugh like that, Dr. Brown, where you are underground and you're holding your belly because that laugh is just, and that reduces the stress. Your environment is stressful, but how you react to it is important. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Brown. Let's tighten it up and let's move on down the road. So, one of the most fascinating parts of your material is the role of the gut microbiome. We don't pay a lot to our gut. How does the gut affect menopause symptoms?
Okay, so, and this is something that we already went over at some point while we do this series. So the gut microbiome help metabolize certain plant compound. For example, soy isoflavone, flavin. So the isoflavin diazine can be converted by certain bacteria into EQUOL. Now, which has a much stronger estrogen receptor activity than the original compound. So if we are taking in soy products, so we get our tofu and we are taking it in, and we don't have the gut bacteria which will help to convert this into the most absorbable form that our body can absorb, then it is pointless. So the gut microbiome is very, very critical in order for us to metabolize and use the daisy that we take in from the soy isoflavonoids. Yes.
Awesome. So, two women could eat the same soy foods, right? And get very different results.
Exactly. One woman may be an efficient, or they may effectively produce the equal, it produces it effectively. They can do it effectively and get more than more symptoms relief than someone who doesn't have the correct microbiome to support the breaking down of that. So that is why gut health matters. That is why it matters. A diet high in processed food and low in fiber reduces the body's ability to get the full benefit of phytoestrogen rich food. So your gut health is so critical, especially when we are going through this phase of our life, and not only but all the time. Yes.
Thank you for that information. If you have been blessed with the information, put a Y in the chat as we continue. We are right at the end. I'm looking at the finish line. So what are some practical natural interventions that may help, Dr. Brown?
So we have spoken about the triggers, and we talk about triggers like caffeine and spicy food. Those things we might need to reduce our intake of them at this point. Improve hydration. This is so important because we sweat a lot, but women who are going through menopause, their skin tend to dry out. They tend to have drier skin, and hydration is so important. We need to find ways to sleep, regardless of what is happening. We're waking up in night sweats. We have to devise ways of just making sure that we get enough sleep, emphasizing what we call the phytoestrogen rich foods. These are some things we need to include in our diet on a daily basis, one way or the other. We can make flaxseed smoothie with sea moss, and that is a nice way to include it in our diet. We have to find way to calm down, just calming the nervous system, just calming ourselves down, addressing chronic stress because we are going through stressful situation. It's not helping your health. And we point out all the things that are happening. We are going through vasodilation, constant constriction and dilation. And this is damaging our blood vessels. So it is very important that we manage the stress. We must support our gut health with fiber-rich food and take some kind of probiotic or consume more prebiotic food so that we can build our nutrients at a better rate. So these are some of the things that you could do, and there are many other things that you could do to support your life at this point. Yes.
What about lifestyle?
Lifestyle is huge. All the things that are 90% or some of the things that we as women used to do when we were much younger, we have to make some huge changes. And there are some things that you will do specifically to support yourself, like wearing layers, different layers of clothing. We can create a cooling room, have a room where you can go and cool down so that you're not making everybody in the house uncomfortable. Using pace breathing techniques. So we can do our inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. And these are some of the things that will support our cardiovascular health. Reduce stimulant, anything that is stimulating in our diet. And cayenne pepper is a stimulant. Pepper in general, all kinds of pepper are stimulant. Caffeine is a stimulant, so we want to stay away from that. Improve meal timing. So exercise consistently. That will also help. Strengthening our system. We can do core exercise, so we strengthen our system, build our resilience. So these are all things not just for now, but if you want to support your body to make this transition, these are all lifestyle things that we would do normally. But at this point, when you're going through this pivotal point in your life, it is important that we implement all of this. So we have to strengthen our body. We have to just find ways to come down so that we don't have to deal with this excessive stressful situation. Yes.
I just want to pause to thank you, Dr. Brown, for sharing this information. I have learned a lot, and I'm looking at how much more information. I thought we had enough time for the information. I might have to ask for half an hour more. You know, when it's so tasty, we have to stay and enjoy. When the food is enjoyable, we need more, right? And so,
Almost there. We're almost at the landing. We're there.
all right.
So, yes, we're
All right.
almost there. It's almost over. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. You mentioned stress several times. Why is stress such a major factor?
Now, stress is a major factor in every facet of our lives. Stress activates the sympathetic nervous system and increases the androgenic arousal. And when the thermoneutral zone is already narrow, that add that added nervous system activation make a hot flush more likely. So we are going through, our body is already stressed out from this thing that we're experiencing. So this is stress by itself. And then when this is activated by additional stress from your job, from your family, from your household, from whatever it is that you have to do, then there's an increase in the androgenic arousal, and the thermoneutral zone is just whack. And this is how the flashes come. This minute you have a flash up there, down, and then the next minute you have 10 minutes after another flash come on, and then 5 minutes you have another flash come on. And this really, really, really is a serious, serious, serious trauma that women are going through. So stress really worsen sleep, increase our cortisol levels, and amplify symptoms intensity so that we are just confused. It's just like a confused state. Yes, stress, additional stress with the menopausal stress is creating havoc in women's body.
All right. You know, I had to stand up. I have a standing, and I have my grounding mat. So I had to stand up, Dr. Brown. I don't know if you can stand up, but I have to stand up for this. And so, thank you for sharing. You know, with the type of jobs that we are doing, it's affecting our health. The type of jobs that some of our ladies are doing, they have in essence a job at home, because some of the men are just stressful. Some of us are terrible, right? And then they go to the job and it's another set of stress. It's a lot of stress. And so I apologize for us stressful men. We need to make a change for your ladies, for your sisters. Remove the stressor. Don't be that stressor in your ladies' lives. No. So helping a woman regulate stress is not optional, correct?
Is exactly. It's not optional. A woman with a partner, a woman needs support. It's a part of the treatment strategy. It's not just a side note. It is a big note on the door everywhere. Menopausal woman needs support. It's not a side note. So it's something that need to be talked about, something that need to be understood, something that people need to hear so that when they see it, they can recognize it and not take it for something else and cause divorce and people to go separate ways. Yes.
Thank you. And I have to put this in, Dr. Brown. Do you know we have a menopause support group? And this platform, or what we're doing, came out of that group itself. We are 100 and such, 100 and about 50 members in that group. And that group is there to support you. We have about 5 or 6 individuals who are expert in women's health, not just menopause. And you can share the question. You also have their resources that you can contact them. And so I'm not sure if I want to put the contact information with what's going on with these people I will think about it. No, next question. Many women feel confused, embarrassed, or even fearful when these symptoms begin. What would you say to them?
Oh man, I have had client call me. I'm so confused. I wish somebody talked to me about menopause. I get up, I don't want to go to work. When I go to work, I want to go home and I just don't want to do anything. And when I do it, I feel confused. And these are some of the feedback I get. Now, what to say? You are not losing your mind. I just want women to know that they are not losing their mind and they are not weak. Your body is going through a real biological roller coaster, and we can call it a transition. And there's a reason for what you're feeling, and there are supportive strategies that can help. Education removes fear, and that's what we're doing. Once a woman understands the mechanism, she can make an empowered choice. There are things you can do. You cannot sit down and give in to this. You have to find ways to deal with it. And as we mentioned earlier, we look at some of the strategies that we can actually implement or, avoid the triggers that affects us so that we can actually we can reduce the symptoms and we can deal with it a little better. Yeah.
Amen. No, I like this part, Dr. Brown. Rapid fire QA. And so get yourself ready, Dr. Brown. Make sure that your gun is in your case, right? No.
Well, this is for your audience. They are going to answer these questions. These are the questions. Yes,
All
but
right.
go ahead. I'll give the answer if they can get it. Yeah.
All
So
right. Put
they're
it
going to put the response
in the chat.
yeah.
All right. What brain region is most responsible for hot flashes? We cover it. What brain region is most responsible for hot flashes? As the question comes in the chat, there is a question there. What's the answer, Dr. Brown?
Oh,
Oh, there's
did they figure it out? The
yeah, there's
hypothalamus.
someone who answered it there.
Awesome. The hypothalamus.
Eh,
Awesome. Yes.
awesome. Next question. We're going through fast. What is the primary
Molecular.
molecular trigger? What is the primary molecular trigger? I'm not seeing the chat moving. Spice. I see someone put spice there.
It's molecular trigger. Spice is a food, is a part of our diet. This is a molecule, and we're talking about a neuron. It's a neuron that, so I can give the answer. So that
Yes,
is
go ahead.
the neurokinin B, which is activating on the NK3 receptors.
So that was a bit in depth. So we give you each person half points for that.
Okay.
Yes. Next question. Why do hot flashes happen so suddenly? Why do hot flashes happen so suddenly?
Okay, so do I answer that one or do I leave
Wait,
it?
I see when your levels drop, someone says, Sister Vera says, when your levels drop, someone asks about tofu there. Body trying to cool down, estrogen decline. You can
Okay,
answer.
so those are the primary reason behind it. So the KNDy neuron fire in burst. So it's not a consistent firing. And remember, the KNDy fires, it stimulates the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus produce what we call the gonadotrophin releasing hormone. So it's not a steady fire. Yes, it's just it's constantly firing in waves. Yes.
All right, next question. Thank you. Why do women often feel cold afterward? Put it in the chat. Why does women often feel cold after? Condensation. Sister Veronica says condensation. Go ahead, Dr. Brown.
Okay. Remember we talk about the cooling system in the body? Why do we feel cold after the heat? Why is because of it. The body produces, it's really evaporation and cooling that drops the body temperature after the flash. So the peak flash, we have the drop in body temperature. So once you sweat, it's going to cool down your body.
Awesome. Next question. Why might soy help one woman but not another? That's the question.
Yes.
Why might soy help one woman but not another? Can put it in the chat. False trigger, no. I think that was previous. Vera says plant hormone receptor different. Lifestyle, each person is different and responds differently.
Well, that is in essence because the microbiome is different. So it's really because of the gut microbiome that cause the equal. Remember, we talk about equal production. So the microbiome process the soy, and it really support equal is what the body can absorb better, which reduce the symptoms. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. And the last question in this fast, quick, rapid fire. What are 3 common triggers? What are 3 common triggers? Can put that in there in the chat. Gut imbalance. No. That was previous.
Triggers. Food triggers, that's the key. What are some foods that trigger or some other things?
Caffeine is there, spice is there, stress is there, animal products, plastic, spices, and heat. Caffeine, poor sleep. Yep. I see. What are they missing? They're missing something there.
So they say stress, caffeine, heat from environment, heat from Wainsford. So those are 3 triggers. We asked for 3.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. So we're in the closing mode. We're putting the vehicle in neutral. We have been going up the hill. We came down the other side of that hill. And now we're going to put the car into park. So this question to you, Dr. Brown. As we close, what final encouragement would you like to leave with the listeners?
Okay, I want to encourage, I want us to understand that hot flashes are real. They are real, but they are also understandable. When we understand the science, we can respond with wisdom instead of fear. Menopause is not the end of vitality. It is a transition that calls for deeper support and better nourishment, greater rest, and intentional care for your body. Now, at this point, our body is speaking, and when we listen well, healing becomes possible. And yes, I want us to understand that it is possible to care and work for you with your system while you go through this phase of your life.
Awesome. Now, do you have any products? I know I got a product from you and from my wife, and it's right there on my shelf. Can you see? It's right there on my shelf. And I'm going to share it on the screen, and so you see it. And I take it also. You want to know, Courtney, what are you taking menopause tea? It's a menopause tea. Do you know men do go through woman pause? You see, like how you have menopause, you have woman pause also. And so we do go through that also. And so our testosterone depletes, and we have an imbalance, and we start growing breasts and doing all kind of stuff. And so I am taking it, right? And so this is the product here. Where is my screen? This is my product, and I'm sure Dr. Brown has other products that she has. And so this is the product, and it's a menopause tea. And Dr. Brown, please drop your information in the chat for individuals who might need to contact you so that they can get the menopause. This is it right here. Let me see if I can let me bring it up. And it has wild yam, right? Wild yam. And someone mentioned black cohosh earlier. It has red raspberry, red clover, and some other ingredients. And this is designed not just for hormone, but the entire body, to balance the entire body. And so I am still in my right mind, and yes, and so that means I'm taking that. So I'm good. I'm still good right here. And so I will suggest, Dr. Brown, put your let me locate it. Let me locate it and drop your contact in. And so we are basically at the end. Anything else to add, Dr. Brown?
Yeah, I just want to say to women who have never paused and they are going through menopause now, or whatever stage, you're pre, peri, or you're actually going through the phase or post, I want to recommend for women at large, and I know it works for a number of women that I work with. They actually do a detox and clean their system. And as I said, we have so many things that is within our system 30 years, 40 years, just drinking the tea, taking the herbs on that gunk that is in you is not going to give you the best result. I always recommend that women do a detox every 6 months. Every 6 months, you stop to clean your system. And then, the addition of these herbs, you can do your chamomile, you can do your sage, your peppermint, your red clover, lemon balm, the black cohosh, and all these tea. That formula that Courtney talks about, we have the herbal formula in the form of a capsule, and we also have it in the form of teas. And you can but what I recommend at all points is that when God provides things for us, to all the herbs that God provides for us, they intend to clean and care for our body. However, if we don't keep our system in tune, and when we take these, it have to pass through layers of fat and all the gunk, the heavy metal. And if we clean some of those, we will absorb these much better, and then replace our microflora, microbiome, so that our body can function more effectively. And that's what I recommend. And I will definitely put the information in the chat. If you guys want to make an appointment, then you could go to the website to make this appointment, or connect with me, and we can have a conversation where this is concerned.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Brown. And so this series, it's a series. It started out of 3 young ladies, and Dr. Brown are included. We have Sister Sonia Barnes, and we also have Tanya Jackson. And on the first, put it in your calendar so that it's easier for you. Put it in your calendar, write it on your refrigerator door. You know, sometimes you have that paper on the door. Put it there in red. That if every Sunday, every first Sunday at 11 p.m. we are here. Every Sunday at 11 p.m. we are using the same contact information, the same Meet Me ID, and the same passcode. Put the information, the link that you receive, put it in a location that you can find it. Put it on your calendar, because we are here to share knowledge with you. And so we want to thank you. Thank you, Dr. Brown, for joining. Thank you for that massive information. And are we going to share like a snips of this information? We're going to have put it in the chat if you're planning to share this information. We're putting it in the chat. I don't know if you have that link. Remember that initial link that we had when we did the survey? Perhaps I don't know, I'm not sure if you can find that form, and you can drop that link in the chat for someone, individuals who might want to share with us through the survey what they are going through. And so on that note, thank you, Dr. Brown, for joining. It was a pleasure having you here on International Women Menopause Exchange. Yes, that's the name of it. International Women Menopause
Well, I
Exchange.
pray that by God's grace, this was beneficial to those who joined in, and I just ask you to share with someone so that, you know, we all can become more educated as to what's happening within our body.
And I am going to share the chat. I'm going to share the chat, the menopause chat with you, the link. So don't leave as yet. And I am going to remove group just for the initial. I'm going to remove group so that we can manage the influx of individuals that will be coming in. Settings, edit, admin. We can stop the recording. Edit, group, admin. Approve, new admin. Okay.